MUFC Realist TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
We are back and we are cooking. And what's going on with this layout? Poppy, I can see you. Where are you, Phil? You're hiding behind the Champions League. Poppy, we need your power energy. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. It's Phil, I believe, that's hiding behind the Champions League.
Oh, I can see Phil right now. How are you doing, Power? What's cooking all the way from Boston, USA?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so happy to be joining you guys. What's up, Jay? What's up, Phil? What's up, Mick?
Hey, all good.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this that's coming ahead.
Guys, Phil, how you doing?
I am better today than I was the other day when you last saw me.
You patched up the wounds. We licked up the wounds. Jay, how about you?
I'm good. I just saw your intro there, Mick. You're bringing the eloquence, and Poppy is already bringing the smiles. I think Phil and Jay are going to be a bit more tempered in our mannerisms tonight. Would you not agree, Phil?
I think that's a fair balance of the what was about.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we talk about Netflix blockbusters. Like, I'm tired of these 3 weddings and 1 funeral. You know what I mean? But I believe that you're going to get up and do 2 funerals the next couple of days as well. Weddings. I'm sorry, Jay.
Yeah, weddings. The bane of my weekend, managing and organizing weddings. Anyway, we move on.
Wedding planner. Big up.
Something like that, yeah.
Listen, I want to start asking you guys the question. Are we in crisis or is it media inflated? Who want to go first?
Do you want positive or negative?
Drop the mic. Come on. Let's do this.
Okay, I'll go first.
Get it out of your system.
I don't think we are in crisis. I think the biggest crisis at the moment is the injuries that we're dealing with. When you look at the start to the season, we've got a brand new goalkeeper in, and any goalkeeper, not just into the style of play, but with the players around him. And when you look at the injuries that we've had across the back 4 already, how is he supposed to settle with a back 4 with a 4 in front of him when they're changing every single game? And, I questioned after the other game, some of potentially could Anara have made those saves? Are we making the errors we're making at the back? We've got so many injuries at the moment that it is having a big impact on us. I'm not saying that the players on the pitch who turned up the other day should have done more. I'm not saying that. But in terms of, is the club in crisis? We've got an injury problem that we need to deal with. But I don't think we're in crisis. I think it's all being blown out of proportion. They get excited, the papers, you lose a few games. And, we're not where we want to be. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm not happy where we want to be. I'm not happy with the performances we're seeing. But are we a club in crisis? We need to get rid of the manager? No.
No, I started to see a trend here. We lost to get Brighton, who is probably the best informed team in the Premier League, right? We've been snubbed by De Zerbi before. And now we've seen everyone is bigging up De Zerbi as the next coming thing, right? Everyone is doing it. Everyone is hating on Manchester United. Everywhere you turn, which channel you turn on, you see just negative stuff and how much money we spent and X, Y, Z. But nobody's talking about the actual 10 injuries that we currently have and the muscular injuries. Jay, I will ask you: are we in crisis? And if we talk about muscle injuries, a few things since you're a professional bodybuilder competing, that if you overtrain, if you lift heavy, if you're not taking, proper recovery, you're bound to overtrain and have muscular injuries.
Okay, crisis, that's a bit of a stretch. Phil alluded to very well. A new goalkeeper hasn't had the same back 4 in front of him in 5 games running. So that's an issue in itself. I would question, do we need to sign a goalkeeper? That's a story for another show. So the new injury to Armo Wisaka, which I broke yesterday. Nobody wanted to believe. He's out for 2 months. So that's going to be like a grade 3 hamstring tear. So hamstring, it's a very tricky muscle. There's actually 3 parts of your hamstring. Without boring you with physiology, hamstring goes from your pelvis down the back of your knee. And it can happen from either A, overuse, B, lack of recovery, or C, a muscular imbalance. For my coaching with rugby players, we have them on a program all year round. It's called a Nordic pelvic tilt, where it's just a simple thing to do once, twice a week to increase strength and mobility of the hamstrings to counterbalance the mass that's put on in the quadriceps and the rectus femoris. So you would question 5 games a season, how does Armo Wisaka have an overuse injury already? We alluded to previously on other shows the lack of recovery time that was afforded to the players in pre-season with the constant flying from city to city across Europe and North America. So recovery time was eaten into there as well. So obviously, for me as a coach, I think the risk factors for muscle injuries had not been managed. That's in a very simple terms, guys. I don't want to get too intricate and lose people, but there are risk factors for muscle injuries. You minimize the risk, you minimize the occurrence. And looking at the way those players traveled, all those flights, different bed every night, different training services, for me, those risk factors were minimized. Therefore, now, as a result, we have a spate of injuries.
True that. Also worth to mention that, it was a very unprecedented season, that we had a World Cup in the middle of the winter, and then we had to play catch up to make up the TV sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So we literally played 3 games a week, and plus we were deep into all the cup competitions, and everyone was just playing and playing and playing, and then they'll give him 4 weeks off. There's not enough recovery time, and then back onto the PR tour. To all the way to USA, where Papi was actually viewing the game. So, Papi, how do you see? Are we in crisis? What are you saying? Do you agree what Phil and what Jay is saying as well, or do you see it differently?
Yes. The injury situation is a crisis. There's no doubt about that. I think Chelsea is also another team that's also facing probably a slightly larger crisis than us, but we are one of those clubs that has it goes from the likes of Varane, Mount, Luke Shaw, Amrabat, now Wan-Bissaka, as we just talked about, Kobe Mainoo, and Malacia, Amad Diallo, Tom Heaton, some of those players are important players and important pieces in Ten Hag's system. And I think what he's trying to do. So it's obviously delaying our progress. It's obviously a little bit of a hurdle that I believe eventually we can still get by with the likes of Reguilon and Dalot as our fullbacks. I think there's an opportunity there for us to be a very attacking side, and it could be a blessing in disguise, because as injuries happen when you're a professional, it's also your opportunity to go showcase
give opportunities.
It's you showcase what you can give to the squad. So it's an injury crisis, but it's not. The whole club itself also has some drama. It's not short of drama, but at the end of the day, I want to just also touch on what you said earlier on. I mean, Deserby definitely deserves his praise. His praise. No, I mean, we have to just give the man his praise and say he's doing good for a coach who's just been there for a very short period of time. So that aside, we still have to look at our own club and say, what is going on at Man United? Have we traveled too much, as Jay was talking about? Jarvis has been here and talked about all the travel miles and the times that we spent in the airport.
They're racking up frequent fly points.
We've got more mileage than points.
True that. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So at the end of the day, we haven't kicked the ball yet, and we haven't found the run of form yet. Players are knackered. You can see you've been playing Casemiro as a single pivot. He looks absolutely out of steam. So we got to bear in mind to look for the future as well, to say that we have players coming in like Sofian Amrabat that will assist. We have Some people are criticizing the signing of Mason Mount, but Mason Mount can offer is more than Christian Eriksen can offer. Like, off the ball, he's very tenacious, right? Technical gifted as a bench player as well. So we definitely look like we have options together with Kobe Mainoo as well. They're looking forward to come back as well. So yeah, and prolifically we need to start using Rasmus Højlund. We've seen glimpses of Rasmus Højlund and he was booed off. Actually Ten Hag was booed when he substituted him, but Ten Hag justified it to say, look, he came back from an injury. We will always the case. We'll give him 65 minutes to embed, but I do expect him to play more minutes. And we've seen what a proper number 9 like Rasmus Højlund can do. So big up to all of you for shedding your light. We can only look forward from now, to be honest. There's no point of being negative because that will not give you anything at all. It will only defeat your own mental health. And that's why you come to this channel. Anyway, we got to shout out everyone in the VR room as per tradition. There is... how many are you in the VR room? Please like and subscribe. And if you want to chat, you have to subscribe. Otherwise, you cannot chat. Just as a disclaimer as well, because we are on the road for 17K. Actually, we're on the road to 20K. We are just about 140 away from 17K. So if you can support this channel, smash the like button, subscribe now if you haven't. Big up to all of you. Let's start with Stephanie Griffith to say, bring on Bayern. We can see Jarle Malmin is in how. Carlos is also here. I can see Jamie Wayne. RJ is here. Carlos as well. Again. There's a lot of you feeling positive vibes. I can see Ellie and Tenno is here as well. Who else do we shout out? There's a lot of doubling down. Lucky Singh is here as well. Who else? Manenza is here. Big up to you, Manenza. Good evening to you. Carlos is again. There's a lot of you here. Who else haven't I shouted out? Let me know, Phil. You're also in control of the chat room. Simon here and he's here. He's saying yes, RJ, we are in.
Box,
yes,
Scotty's at wheel. Neil Driscoll, Craig Warby, Edward Reed.
Edward Reed is also here. Simon Heron say, yes, we are in crisis. 11 players injured and the players are running around half-assed. Yeah, but they just basically run out of steam, as we say. They haven't recovered. So what we need right now, people, is fresh legs. That's what Jarvis's message is. Jarvis could unfortunately not join us today. We had some tragic family crisis that happened yesterday. So big condolences to you, Jarvis, and your family. You got all the love and support from this channel. We love you. And if you are listening, there's endless of love and support for you here, brother. You have the link if you want to come in, have your say. But you told me to bring the message to everyone. We need fresh legs, fresh food. Guys, big up to all of you. It will take forever if we're going to shout out everyone. Scotty at the wheel. Welsh girl is here. Jarvis. Oh, sorry. Casemiro's performance is slipping. Big up, Jarvis. You're here watching, sending you lots of love. Casemiro's performance is slipping, a key position where backup is scarce. He's crucial, but not at his best. As we saw last season, we was out. The recruitment is on the Glazers, 100%. Elian Tenno is also coming in with a super chat. Big up, Elian. You are saying, what are you saying, Elian? Peter, big up for you for your donation. Where's my thingy, Bob? Hang on. Thank you, Alien. Jump flat jockeys, living on strict diet, travel everywhere. This is tired travel bullshit. Seriously, McCoy blows this. I'm not going to say the word because of the YouTube algorithm, Peter, but I can read. It's similar to opposite to our dog, if you know what I mean. Meow. Anyway, thank you, sir. Anyway, guys, we got to talk about it because I recognize it's late. I recognize that some people have to go to work, and I want to talk about the latest Glazer story, right? Before we kick on the show, right? So bear with me. I'm going to bring this to the stage. Can we see this? Are you there with us? Can you remove Kev McGee there as well? Well, stories came out today, and for you guys that's been following this podcast, we've been doing educational platform, over 70 videos over 11 months, laying down the overall educational groundwork regarding the sales takeover and the financial predicaments and all that stuff. And, you know, it's clear and obvious that if it's Rain Group, they're not communicating to the British mainstream so-called sports journalist or Fabrizio Romano to break the story. That is one logical piece that you have to put in your mind. The one that will get this exclusive is the business publications in terms of Reuters and Bloomberg. So don't shoot the Bloombergs down or Reuters. At the end of the day, what this sports journalist is trying to do, according to my opinion, guys, if you can agree with me, they're looking for the biggest scoop of the century. They're utilizing Manchester United as the gravy train. So therefore, I've been always saying that from a business financial perspective, you will expect to hear something at the latest November. Why I'm saying so? Because the physical financial year, or at least the planning for the physical Q1 2024, starts always in October with the board directors and the financial planning. So it makes no sense to lay down a new financial planning with Glazers on board. And therefore, some reports are also saying, even Neil Costis was saying he was played down because it's the Sun. They say expected in October, November. There's always some truthful elements when people coming out to report these things, right? And David Hellier, Bloomberg journalist, which I respect, was saying there's nothing happening at the moment, and exactly what we've been told, August to September. But I believe the process and progress the next few weeks. My feeling is that Sheikh Yassim will be succeed in taking over the club at the end. And this is what I also been saying, been consistent of, if you know what I know. I responded to this tweet as well, for the record. There's always some truth in it. The truth is always in the middle, people. Bloomberg will have the exclusivity, or Reuters, to break this story. And this is the partner what Rain Group is working with. The financial timelines make sense. Before the end of financial year to hand over the keys. The new establishment start fresh with new Q1. Guys, I want to hear from you guys. What do you reckon? I mean, in terms of the gravy train, with the battle of the so-called sports journalists. I'm not going to mention names because I do respect them. But are you agree from a logical business financial perspective that this will happen at the end of Q3, right? I want to hear from Jay.
Okay, pardon me, Nick. To your credit, you've always been very measured and analytical in your analysis of a takeover. You haven't jumped on any of the gravy trains like the popular outlets have, like our competitors. And secondly, I would say the Qatari group, they're not going to break the story to lads in the Atlantic. They're not going to give it to a tappet merchant like Fritzy or Manu.
Nope.
They're going to give it to a world-renowned, recognized outlet such as Reuters or Bloomberg, and they're the facts. And your average punter sitting at home that reads the red tops or is constantly looking for information on Twitter, they're looking in the wrong area.
No, 100%.
Yeah. So, and you're saying there about you've got your financial budget broken down into quarters. So already the companies are looking forward to Q1 for January next year. So if we're to take even half of that statement to be true, looking at a takeover in early Q1 or 4, I don't think any of the fans would have a problem with that.
No, 100% no. I mean, I believe in Bloomberg. I believe in Amrabat and Sen. I believe in Reuters because they have no dog in the fight. They only report on mergers and acquisition facts. But I do respect transfer journalists and sports journalists because they're good at what they're doing. But when you start believing that, I don't believe it until I hear it from Mike Keegan and Fabrizio Romano. Are they business journalists?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, because these people, they do have contacts with agents and some club officials, 100%. But they don't have direct contact with Rain Group. They don't have contact direct with Sheikh Yassim and I2 Holding Foundation. What they do might have is a contact within Ineos. And Ineos is also been coming out leaking our concession stories that you've seen it, right? They're threatening to walk away because Glazers wants, to stay in power, have voting power. And this is to me like more of a concession PR strategy to say, hey, the loser will always come up with some statement and excuse, and they will use this as excuse that at least we tried, and they wanted to have control, and therefore we backed away. Papi, what do you think?
You know, the thing with Sheikh Jassim and Surgeon Radcliffe is such an interesting thing, because I think it's also more than just there's money, but then there's a battle of patience. And I feel like it's one of those things that where, like, we have seen, of course we know that the sale of a club is not like you're selling like a cell phone. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of, like, accounting that has to go into it. So you'd expect that by now this process would be done. And for me, there's a little bit of, like, when the media produces a story like this, I take it with a grain of salt, because I'm not, like, I understand that they're journalists and they need to make a living, and they need to generate some story. So sometimes I'm kind of a little bit like, who is this person that's talking? What other things have they been covering? So when we're talking of credible outlets like Reuters and Bloomberg, we're actually talking about, like, real news that is
Yeah.
going to happen. So it makes me a little bit like, I'm excited that the end is near. I was hoping that it was going to be more in timing with the season, like the actual, like, football calendar, but it makes sense that it has to kind of coincide with the financial year.
Well, Phil, I'm gonna take it to you as well, because majority of the fan base was actually deluding the same what Poppy was hoping, that we get the new owners before the start of the transfer window, so we can actually go and buy players. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we ended up getting another credit line from Bank of America. This is the last credit line, but per my understanding, because we are 1 billion over in debt now, and Bank of America wants the money back. They're not going to lend us any more money. So logically speaking, I want to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I've not got like any inside scoop or anything. I just kind of what I read, like everybody else, what I hear from you guys. But from my point of view, I think that I didn't think that they were going to come in before the transfer window, because if there was a takeover about to happen, it would probably be the worst time, because your prices would just get completely inflated.
Yes, we said that.
And we heard throughout the window that we were knocking down prices, saying we couldn't afford to pay anymore, and we were buying players that clubs are willing to sell. So we weren't like going in for I forgot his name, from the striker who went 143 million. Everyone thought we were going to be getting from Napoli. It begins with O, can't think of his name. Osimhen. There you go. Sorry, Victor Osimhen. This was one we were linked with Osimhen, with Kane, with all this money that was coming, and then it just didn't happen.
Just didn't happen. No.
I think if it's going to happen, it's got to happen soon. They can't just, any business, no matter how much they're going to make from the sale, can't afford to just keep losing, because the more that they're losing, the more they have to keep asking for.
Yeah.
So to me, it's got to come to a head very soon, because it's got to come to a point where any new potential buyers are going to go, hang on a minute, you're losing this much. We're not going to pay you that much for it. So it's got to come to a head soon.
Okay. Before we close that topic, I want to come back to all of you and the VR room as well. For me, as a business acumen, as a somebody that has a lot of experience in these kind of matters, I think that the sales process is actually on time. Looking that it's a multi-billion-dollar deal, to be honest. We are in November. We are actually 12 months in the sales process takeover, and if you look at mergers and acquisition, some acquisitions take over 2 years. 100%. On the other hand, people were saying, well, hang on, Everton got sold very quickly, but it was sold for peanuts. They're not a publicly listed company either on New York Stock Exchange. There's a lot of loopholes that you need to fix. There's a lot of legality stuff that you need to fix. And therefore, you have a lot of, retained lawyers working on it. Everyone makes money at the end of the day. So this, for me, turned out to be that, at the end of the day, we saw that we were given 120 million in credit, and Glazer would not approve anymore. So basically, they had to finesse everything. They literally had to scrape the barrel to get Sophie Amrabat on a loan deal, right? And that tells me that the GLAZERS has given up. At the end of the day, they're not willing to invest any more money. they are in deep shit. I'm sorry, my language. They're in financial crisis themselves. The stock market, as we've seen, somebody's been manipulating it purposely to have a low stock price at $20 right now. And this can only benefit one person. If it's, let's say, if it's Ineos model, what they offered is to have a down payment of 2 billion. And then within 3 years, depending on how the stock market is performing, they will buy them out on a premium, has caused some confusion within the Rain Group and GLAZERS. At the end of the day, you have the legal challenges from the minority investors, then they don't favor this as well. So therefore, the Ineos bid is dead out of the water, according to my opinion, right? And the media is playing 2 months catch up, right? I think I'm 100%. I wouldn't say 100%, but according to my opinion, according to what I know, is they made a purchase agreement with the GLAZERS, with the advisory of Rothams and Lathams and Watkins and all them stuff and Rain Group to say, take this deal. This is the best what you can get, right? You're literally walking out with 6 billion. Somebody's literally paying off your bar tab that you've been racking up, having VIP champagnes and Grey Goose and having a party and racking up all the debt bills on the credit card, and somebody's willing to pay that off. Plus, you're walking away with 6 billion in each pocket. Tell me, Glazeronomics, if you would not take it, why would you have more money? You know, it doesn't really make sense. So at the end of the day, what I see, I'm tired of this. I just want to see a resolution. We need answers. Ten Hag needs answers, because clear and obvious he's been blocking his vision, to be honest, guys. The love and support for you, Jarvis, is big as well, massively. So at the end of the day, what I say here is what I believe, and what I know is what I know. If you followed my factual educational podcast, go check it out. It's called Glazed Out Playlist. You might learn a thing or two. But I stopped believing in anything that comes out there in the ether and just apply my logic, sense, and reasoning. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Now it's time for Footballing Matters. Guys, enough of this takeover gash. Listen, we have a game to play. Are you guys thinking, are we screwed against Bayern?
I'll go first, Mick, before I get off.
Yeah.
I would grab a 1-1 draw right now if it was offered. Look, we've been watching football a long time. It's Bayern Munich, perennial semi-finalists, at least, in Champions League historically. Remember Jose Mourinho's historic football heritage speech? Well, Bayern Munich heritage is always get ladder rounds of a European competition. Us, on the other hand, last 10 years, what are we? We get Champions League. We stuttered, stammered. We might last 16. We're knocked out. My head says my heart says a point. My head says a 2-0 loss. And Kane obviously score. Sad to say it, lads, but that's the reality.
Yeah, hold your beer there.
Super chat, super chat, super chat.
Super chat.
We have lots of love from Nigel Flynn coming into you, Jay, as well. You were bang on with Wan-Bissaka yesterday, Jay. He said, interestingly, David Hiller Bloomberg has only spoken 3 times interviews. That's a fact. Twitter update, and he's been knocked down by British media, but not today. That is a uppercut right there, Nigel Flynn. Thank you for your donation.
Thank you,
Jay,
Nigel. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nigel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You absolutely mentioned a point, because these Bloomberg journalists, they don't tweet constantly for attention, right?
Yeah.
And he's been spoken 3 times, tweeting when he's needed. He doesn't have a dog in the fight. And that's why I respect David Ornstein. The same thing what David Ornstein is doing. He only speaks when he has to. He doesn't tweet all the time.
Mm.
Well, you have likes of, can we mention names?
Go ahead. Please do.
Keegan, Jacobs, who else do we have there? Wheeler, all of them.
The entire athletic staff.
The entire athletic staff. That you have to pay the subscription to read at the end of the day. That's the thing. So big up, Nigel. Anyway, big up.
Thank you, Nigel, for your support.
Listen, I know you got to go soon, but I want to bring the attention to who I want to go next. How giddy are we? Do you think we have a chance against Bayern? Papi?
I have to be honest. I'm usually optimistic, but against Bayern Munich, it's not a home game. We know our away form against superior teams, and man called Kane has been in good form. He's he didn't start off well when he arrived, but like ever since he settled into Bayern Munich league games, he's doing well. So I'm not very hopeful that we're going to get a win. As Jay said, we'll be so lucky to get a point.
Okay, fair play. Listen, how about you, Phil? I mean, if I'm looking at the team that they played, let's say, let me just stretch this one out. Hang on. Maybe we get a better picture. Yeah, that's better. Because they drew against Bayern Leverkusen, and this was the team they lined up, right? If we look at this team, okay, we have faced Harry Kane so many times in Premier League. We know who the Harry Kane is, no problem, right? We most likely will have a Varane back for this game, 100%. We will have Leach as well. They know how to deal with Kane. But if you look at the lineup, basically, who drew against Bayern Leverkusen, they haven't been in that great shape, and they have a slow start as well. You have Lamer, Upamecano. I don't rate Upamecano. Kim Min-jae, that's the signing that we wanted but didn't get. And Davis. Kimmich is kind of losing his legs, and they want to get rid of Kimmich. He lost a yard of pace. Goretzka, I rate. Leroy Sané, we've seen Leroy Sané a lot in City. Thomas Müller, the same, getting a little bit old. Serge Gnabry, unfortunately, we were linked to Serge Gnabry in the news today that we were in for him. And Harry Kane. This was the team that drew 2-2 against Bayern Leverkusen. You tell me, Thomas Tuchel likes to play a high line, which means that we need fresh legs. We need to hit them on the pace. Is it a time where I can think about being the underdogs here, like the night in Paris, when nobody thought that we will prevail? It is, according to my opinion, nobody expects us to do anything. Everyone expects us to win, but a wounded animal will always come back and bite you. The floor is yours, Phil.
So a few stats. So Bayern have played 4 games. They've scored 11 goals. They've conceded 4 in the last 3 games. Bayern Leverkusen, who are top of the league, above Bayern. Mönchengladbach and Augsburg. The last result was a late penalty to Leverkusen, which got them the draw. So they are conceding goals, but the difference is we're not scoring them. They've had Kimmich, you said, is tiring, but he's still got 2 assists already this season. Kim Min-jae's got an assist. Alphonso Davies, another defender, has got 3 assists. Sane is scoring goals and assists. They are playing as a team. There's goals and assists coming from all over the team. We can't pinpoint one player who we need to stop. They are rotating their squad, winning games, scoring goals, creating opportunities. Kane has only not scored in 1 game. He's found his feet quickly. Sane's linking up with him. We've conceded. We've scored 6 goals in our 5 games. We've conceded 10 goals, 8 in our last 3 games, and we've got 6 different goal scorers. That is the only. So we've scored 6 goals, 6 different goal scorers. So am I optimistic? Not at all.
Yeah, big up. Uncle Jimmy, welcome to the show, my friend. You've been on a long stream with the Danny Devils in the details.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it was a long one. Lots to talk about, isn't it? Too much going on at the club. So any stream's going to be lengthy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The situation
Did you speak about the game whatsoever? I know, Jay, you got to go, so maybe I should go with you, Jay.
Yeah, Phil, just by the way, I'm going to be bowing out to Phil's superior knowledge and analysis on Bayern Munich. Phil, that was excellent. Well done, mate. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night, guys. See you all soon.
Good night,
Thanks,
Jay.
Good night, mate.
See you on Wednesday for the post-match. Big up, Jimmy. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are we feeling? Are we getting a little bit more positive today?
No, but you know me, I always, I'm an analyst by nature. I like to look at everything that's happening. I don't just look at how bad things are. I also try and look at what could have been different in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? So yes, everything's bad. Yeah, we're not playing well. But we can see exactly where things are going wrong, and I think that's a good starting point because for me, when we get Amrabat with his legs coming back into the team, that's going to make a big difference because the Premier League's all about the midfield. I keep saying this. It's like a song on repeat in the Premier League. You lose the midfield battle, you lose the match. Simple as that. Yep. There's no two ways about it. It's different in other leagues. In Italy, Jimmy, they can play through the wings and they can still win games. It doesn't work like that in the Premier League because teams in the Premier League are very good at forming a defensive structure. They can hold that shape, especially the teams in the lower side of the table. That's their strength, is being able to defend and then trying to find an opportunity to hit you on the counter. So, that's how you play in the Premier League. And if your midfield is not clicking, you have no chance of winning games at all. And that's the problem that we've got. So positively for me, we know exactly what the problems are. So we can see where the difference is going to be when certain players come back into the fold. But negatively, obviously, is the team is looking bad at the moment. Really, really bad. Embarrassingly bad.
Yeah. Listen, positive note, Poppy. Jokes aside, we have reinforcement. We are 4 in the midfield now. If you look at the screen, we just received a reinforcement in Jimmy. Welcome to the stream. Listen, Poppy, talk to us with your power hour analysis. There is a slight chance because Royden Frost is saying Kim Min-jae hasn't been great either. They haven't even. I don't watch much about Bundesliga, but what I've seen and what I've heard is they have also a slow start to the season as well.
Mm-hmm. I take it back to Champions League lights when Bayern was playing Man City, and we saw that there is also a vulnerable player in that defense line who is called Upamecano. So
Upamecano.
Yeah, we know that if Rashford is able to actually, drift in, that is, he'll be the first center back that he meets, and he's most likely going to, if the distribution is right and the phase of play is right, we might be able to get a penalty from Upamecano. And it's just one of those things where I believe if Ten Hag starts with Højlund as well, again, like I'm excited about that. If we're going to just sort of just look at the things that could potentially happen, we'll have phases of play that obviously are in our favor. And it's just a matter of just finishing the dinner. Because Bruno will serve, and obviously Christian Eriksen, and as we said, there'll be the fact that we have Varane back as a boost. That's a very, very good confidence builder for Man United. But at the end of the day, we need our forwards to finish that dinner. So I'm praying that Rashford, Højlund, please do your job.
Okay, Poppy, I have a suggestion. We have a Højlund. He will do an uppercut Meccano.
Hey, that would be great.
There you go. He will have Upamecano for toast there.
I have to say, Mick, the thing that's worrying me is Leroy Sané versus Serge Reguilon. Like that, Leroy Sané at home has he's been very settled at Bayern Munich, and the fact that him and the link-up play that he has with Thomas Muller, that's something that's a little bit going to be a worry. And now with the Kane boost as well, like this team is there to score goals, and it's just a matter of how do we respond if we concede first. We can't put our heads down. We have to be able to fight, and we have to be competitive.
100%. Listen, Phil.
Yes.
How do we approach this game? I mean, we obviously have Burnley away, so we need some rotation. Burnley, we have 2 away games, and away record hasn't been good. Do we let them press, play high line, and we just hit them on the ollie ball, on the counter? And in that case, do we need fresh legs? Do we start hungry play like Gore, Hannibal, Mason Mount, if he's fit.
What's worrying me is we're 5 games in and we're talking about we need fresh legs. These are supposed to be professional athletes. This is the sort of thing you say with 5 games to go towards the end of the season, not 5 games into the season. If that's a problem, then that is a problem in itself.
Good point. Good point.
I cannot understand why we're talking about fresh legs, because it's the start of the season. We should be raring to go. We should be at our best. You're talking 3 quarters away before the season, before the injuries. We know that they're big. I don't think we'll see Mount back. I mean, there's a couple of rumours he might make the bench, sort of thing. Amrabat, is he going? We just don't know. When you look at, I mean, I've got I don't know if anybody saw this online today, but I was going to quickly read this out. The 11 that are out who could be a starting 11. You've got Heaton in nets, and then you've got Malacia left back, Shaw and Varane centre back, Wan-Bissaka. Currently, you've got Manu and Amrabat in sort of defensive midfield positions. You've got Mount in front of them as an attacking midfielder. You've got Anthony, for the reasons we know, Sancho and Ahmad. That's just the people who are out. And many of those players, you could say, would be in our starting 11. And that is my concern. And you're not just going to, if they are injured, you cannot rush them back against a game like Bayern.
Jimmy.
They've got to be brought back.
Yeah, Jimmy, what's going on with Donny van de Beek? He's not registered to play in Champions League, by my understanding, right? He's plenty fit, but he's not on the bench. He's not on the.
I don't know. It's a weird one because with like Sancho, we get the updates, don't we? Even though they're negative updates, but we get the updates. Whereas with him, we just never get anything at all. I never know what's going on with him at all. I never know whether he's in a special training program. Is he training to come back into the squad? Is he not? Is he leaving? Is he staying? I don't know. We never get any updates with him. His camp are quite bad at managing his relationship with the fan base.
Yeah, true.
Sancho's camp, for all his faults, they've been quite good at trying to, because they've advised him obviously to leave the post up on his page, which shows his character, and and that's been good for him. So that's why he's getting so much positive feedback from some people about what he did. So the Donny one is a weird one. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with him. I read one report in the morning and I'll read a complete opposite report in the evening of the same day. I can't.
Donny, if you go back in time now, Donny is very reserved, very timid, pleasant guy. Everyone talks great about Donny. He doesn't complain, right? He accepts the situation. That's the thing, right? He doesn't have to prove himself by yapping on social media. And if you take Sancho for one story, like, they can only go one way, like in its play against the club, who you think is going to win, So at the end of the day, I don't think Donny is registered to play in the league either. What? They thought he was going out on loan, so he'll never. Oh, wow. Is that true?
Wow. If that's true, that's bad. That's really bad.
Really?
But you know what? If that's true though, if this is true, then it just shows how incompetent the structure at the top of the club are. Because I mean, how do you allow this to happen? How can you, big man Manchester United, allowing this to happen? I mean, how does that make any sense? It just shows you how just disjointed the whole structure is at the top. It's this camp against that camp. It's just a mess. And this wouldn't happen at Aston Villa. It wouldn't happen at any club in the league, in the Premier League.
Yeah. Big up Rich Sports for coming in the chat.
So it's a real shame that our club is coming to this. And again, it's the Glazers. They need to go. Just get out, because it's all trickling down, and it comes to plays into the squad, it plays into selections. It's horrific. It's horrific. It's not going to get better until they leave. And I don't think people understand that how negative the Glazers are when it comes to what they're doing with Manchester United. They are a horrible force for our club. These guys are, even I know there's been reports now saying that there's a lot of work happening in the background or whatever. I still don't believe that that's the case. I still think the Glazers are going to toy with our hearts. at the moment they're almost just taking a piss now. They're just trying to torture us. They don't communicate with us. Even the worst run clubs in the Premier League, their ownership speaks to the fans. We don't hear from the Glazers. They don't talk to us, so we don't know. So we're guessing, we're speculating, and that's coming down into the dressing room. All these issues is because of all the uncertainty at the club at the moment, and I think that's not going to change until these guys are gone. And that's
panel and VR room. There's always a saying. There's a famous saying that silence is golden. You know, and this is the Glazers tragedy. You know, you kill people with silence in any type of relationship. If you're silent, people are going to get pissed off. People are going to wondering if you're not speaking up. Of course, it's going to create a divide and conquer and guesswork, right? So you're absolutely correct there, where you're saying that, Jimmy, right? But even if we get new ownership, I mean, 100%. I did a rant after the game, and I said we will never win under this new ownership, and sacking the manager is not the answer. You know, we had David Moyes didn't last long. Then we have David award-winning pedigree in Louis van Gaal. That didn't work either. Second year he got sacked. We put him with the Jose Mourinho, award-winning guy as well, right? He got back second year, same cycle, sacked, you know. Then what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Well, if we put Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's a, fan favorite, class of 99, yay, bring back the positives. Yes. What happened? He got sacked, right? Ragnick came in, did suggestions that we do an open heart surgery. What happened? Well, they appointed a fake director of football, right? There is no communication between the manager and the director of football. A director of football and a manager should sit down together and discuss the targets, discuss the project together. The commercial side and the CEO, they will do the commercial deals, right, with the football in mind. But this manager or this director of football, so-called director of football, we know his name. He's not competent enough. He doesn't have the pedigree CV. Apparently, there were some club recommendations for some signings. So apparently what they're saying now that Højlund wasn't Ten Hag signing. It was only like Onana and Amrabat.
Yeah.
But I want to bring back to I saw somebody was messaging here in the VR room as well, and he was absolutely spot on. Like, even if you get new ownership in, don't expect magic straight away, right? A restructure, any corporate organization, when you do a restructure, you always set a 5-year project plan, right? That's the thing. Don't expect the new owners come in and you will start competing straight away. No, you got to do a clean house. You got to assess. You got to implement new people, best in class people, and they got to get into like their roles. And you got to set a strategy where you want to go with the club, align with the sporting director, and align with Ten Hag's plan of style of play as well. And off we go. So I do expect, if we have new ownership, to be complete within 3 years. Just look at Newcastle. They're slowly building as well. They're not there yet. Phil, any final thoughts regarding that?
Sorry, I've just been doing some quick checks on the.
That's all right.
I've been posting them. So yeah, I mean, basically, Donny, he can play for the Premier League. He can't play for the Champions League. Yeah. Sorry, so I've missed that little part of it. Sorry. So yeah, move to Poppy.
Poppy, any glimmer of hopes? Donny can apparently play in the Premier League and the Cup, 100%. We have Dan Gore knocking on the door. We've seen what Hannibal can do. I mean, his goal, unfortunately, got swept under the carpet. People forgot what a beautiful goal that was. And that was his first Premier League goal. And people were focusing on the negatives, right?
It was a great goal. Great goal.
It was a great goal,
really
yeah. Big up.
Gary Lineker picked up on it. Gary Lineker said fair play to him. He said this is this. He commented on Twitter saying something about like you should show the rest of the team this is how you score a goal. So and that was Gary Lineker. So fair play.
He's got his head screwed on. He excites me a lot. He's one of those midfielders that's gonna he's gonna grow into a very important midfielder. He's gonna be a Roy Keane type of midfielder, I think. And the other thing is, it's unfortunate for him because the manager's bringing him on at the toughest of times. I mean, the 7-0 loss to Liverpool, bringing him on at 6-0. It's like you can't bring on this kid, you know, at 6-0. What's he gonna do? If he's not good enough to start because you think he's too young, why would you bring him on at the most difficult of times? So it doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know what Ten Hag's thinking is in that respect. But I think if he tries to kind of teach him the right way, the proper midfield way, I think he's going to be a really good player. He's got balls the size of, oh my God, he's so brave. I haven't seen a midfielder like that in our team for a while. He's very brave. He's not scared. He does remind me of a Roy Keane type of midfielder where it doesn't matter what size the other midfielder is, they're going to go for him at all times. He's happy to go toe to toe. Really good to see. I hope he gives him enough games. I hope he starts him in games, to be honest. He's got the legs.
Jimmy, who do you think he'll start ahead of? Because everyone's waxing lyrical about Manu when he's fit. Everyone's saying Amrabat, we can't wait to get him in. Casemiro wants to get alongside Amrabat, so it's
depending on the type of game. I would start him ahead of Casemiro, to be honest. I would play him in that role. I think if he's got an Amrabat and a Mount, because there's extra legs there, I think he would do all right. I don't think he's maybe he's not composed enough to go up against really good midfielders, but I think against the average midfielders, I think he can hold his own. I think he would get the better of most of them, to be honest.
Burnley,
Puppy.
A bit about him, throw himself about a bit.
I wanted to highlight just Hannibal's moment by the post that he put up right after the game, by saying that years of work went into that moment to score a goal for this incredible club. Impossible to enjoy it without the team getting the result we wanted. And he really showed so much passion. He's such a breath of fresh air. We always talk about players that have the dog fight in them, and this guy, he's got that dog fight. He's got he's brave, as Jimmy said, and so is Hoyland. He's got this fearlessness nature.
Yeah, they've got this this.
When they come together, they can make a really strong synergy, and I'm excited about the future for Hannibal. And do you remember that time when Man United players had all given up, and Hannibal came in and got the yellow card, and it felt like
this was against Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah. A yellow card for some reason.
He got a red card.
This goal was a consolation.
He came on, took 3 players out in the space of about a minute. It was just all over.
It was brilliant.
I got to translate Serbian.
Crowd all day.
Sorry, I'm going to translate because Milos Mitic is writing in Serbian. He said Manchester hasn't changed the playing style for 10 years, which is a catastrophe for me as a supporter. Well, they have, Milos. I mean, we played pragmatic football under 2 managers, right? Defensive style, pragmatic, counter-attacking football. What Ten Hag is trying to do the second round of the season is definitely not working with the current personnel that he has with all these injuries. Jarvis and I, we spoke earlier, and he said fresh legs, and play those hungry players that are rested youth like Mount, Gore, Hannibal, 100%. Arteta first 2 seasons ended at 8th place. 3rd season, 4th. Erik Ten Hag and the Cup in his first season finished 3rd, and the toxic fans screaming Erik Ten Hag. That's it. You got to call a spade. You got to see.
That's a good comment. That's a very good comment. To be
very good. You got to see it for what it is, guys. We are not in a crisis. It's in the beginning of the season. The way I see it, we have reinforcements coming in as well. We played shit football 100%. We did. The scoreboard don't lie. The table don't lie. But yes, it's too early to judge the table.
I will say this, and again, I said it on No Agenda. For me, like I've said, the positive I'm seeing is I can see what needs to change, exactly what needs to change in midfield. I can see exactly what's missing,
right?
What's making it not work. We can see it. So because we know, I'm hoping that the manager's seeing what we're seeing, because sometimes Ten Hag seems to see other things that we're all saying, well, why are you doing that? But he's the manager. He's in his position because he is a football manager. So let's trust what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I hope he's seeing what we're seeing in the sense of we know exactly what he needs to change in midfield, but he's going to have the balls to not be so stubborn and accept what needs to change and make that change. Because he's so stubborn, and that stubbornness is going to cost him dearly if he's not careful. So he needs to be brave. He needs to make the changes that need making, and hopefully, at least we improve. We're not saying it's going to work, it's going to change the world, but at least we improve the football.
Yeah,
and that's all we're asking for.
I was looking yesterday. Big up for mentioning that. Flex's show, the United View. He had Ajax on, the Ajax fan supporter, the big giant guy, and he actually spoke facts. He knows Ten Hag's system in and out, and he said you guys must give him time. And he's basically saying his biggest weakness is his stubbornness. He needs to make substitutions earlier. You know, that is his weakness, because we played well against Brighton the first 70 minutes. We were like a dogfight over them, but the Serbi figured out the diamond, you know, and made a little bit tweak and start playing like, you know, fullbacks a little bit wider and bombing forward. He didn't sort of react on that. So he needs to learn how to react and adopt quicker, you know, like Mourinho used to do, like second half. If it ain't working, sub, right? Don't wait to 65. Don't wait to 85. What is supposed a player do, like coming in from the 85 minute? You know, you just get him warmed up. Give them like an at least 60 minute, 50 minute if it's ain't working, right?
I mean, that's one thing about Mourinho. Mourinho was happy to take players off 25 minutes into the game if it's not working. You know,
100%.
and in the Premier League, see, the Premier League is such it's such,
29 minutes
the margins are so thin in the Premier League that you have to make the most of every single minute of every match. You know, and if it's not working, don't. For me, his timing with substitutes has been off for me, in my opinion. You know, sometimes it's been. I mean, why are you leaving Rashford for so long when he's clearly not performing? And I'm the biggest Rashford fan. People know I've done whole spaces just defending Rashford. But if he's not playing well, take him off. I'm sorry, just take him off. Put someone else on. And if you're going to put someone else on, don't. You know, you've got. Just some changes are so shady that I'm thinking, oh, come on, we're not managers, but in the Premier League, that's not going to work. I know it's not going to work.
Okay,
it's not going to work. He doesn't see that sometimes, and
I'm conscious about time, so I have to move on as well. Thank you for sharing that, Jimmy. I wanted to throw one final thought to the VAR room and for you panelists as well. I was thinking about it today. You know, some people are saying we have regressed, but I would say that a lot of teams within the Premier League have improved. It's getting more competitive. I mean, even the lower league tables, like, you know, every game is a very competitive game. Even going away to Burnley is a tough game. What's your thoughts and feelings regarding that, Poppy?
Man, every game is a tough game. It's actually, when you look at the fact that, for me, guys, it's part of just trying to be real and trying to actually look at the facts head on and say, what team are we playing? Onana and our defense has not really had a time to really solidify. We've had injuries like that hampered the progress, like that where we could have been right now, you know? So 10 shots on target is what Onana has faced so far in the Premier League, and 7 of those have gone in, 70%. Now, Bayern Munich played Bayern Leverkusen, as we were talking, and they had 9 shots on target that game. They have guys like Leroy Sané, guys like Kimmich, Kane, I'm nervous. It's a nervousness that's really based on like the facts in front of me. Go ahead, Mix, please.
Yeah, well, it's not always the goalkeeper's fault. Like, you know, if you compare the stats to David De Gea, we had a solid defense back then that was working. These couple of 5 games in the Premier League, our defense has been shady. It's been rocky. You know, you have Martinez is not at his best.
But even Martinez is looking real shaky. You know,
not settled.
I think he's afraid because he's Metatatis.
It's just not gelled enough. They don't trust each other fully enough. They know they've been given instructions. They're confident with the build up. So for the most part, whenever us,
Martinez isn't doing what he was doing last season in the sense of he's not as aggressive for me, and his positional play is off. It was brilliant last season positionally. He was amazing, and now he seems to time things wrong all the time.
How much of that is missing Varane? Because we spoke at the top of the show just before he came on, Jimmy, about the fact of all the changes we've had in the back four. We've not had the same back four in any game this season. So every player, well, some players play better with others. Like, you go back to Rio and Vidic, you take one of them out of the equation, and they're not going to have the same game. They worked well together. Okay. So are we missing that?
Also, I want to add on how much you said something, Jimmy. Like, he's not going 100% in each duel and tackle. How much is that to mental scaredness that he had a fracture, like the metatarsus foot, and he's kind of feeling it, so he's taking a little bit easy. Yeah, but how much do you think that it's in the back of his mind? Like, I'm not going to go.
Of course. I think, of course, mentally, because he doesn't want to get injured, he wants to play for the whole season. But the problem with that is that's the best part of his game.
So it's what gets you injured, pulling out.
All right.
But if he can't do the best part of his game, then he's going to end up not starting. He's going to end up getting replaced. Because from what we've seen, what's happened to Donny van de Beek, we know that he can drop these players that he's bringing from Ajax. He can drop. They're not, they're not invincible. They can be dropped. Donny van de Beek. So. Absolutely. This is for me. I think it's going to be that's how I see it anyway. That's how I see it.
Okay. Hey, hold your beer.
Super chat.
Thank you, Nigel, with another €10 super chat. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir. Point one. I hope this is relevant, lads. It's not just a team that needs to unite. David Hillier did a great interview on United Channel in summer, 100%. A different United Channel today wouldn't even call, 100%. That's the thing. I'm trying to,
Sorry. Continue, Mick. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Sorry.
David Hillier did an interview with the paddock. I remember that clearly, and nobody else has been trying to bring on those kind of Bloomberg journalists, but instead you've seen the likes of, I don't know. I don't want to mention names. I don't want to slag,
David Hillier is the one who's written this story about the takeover. Yeah.
What I do respect is whenever I see Kieran Maguire and David Hillier, like on the paddock, or Friends channel, the paddock, I tend to listen. I tend to respect, right? But then if you look at other channels, they bring in Ben Jacobs and all the sports journalists talking about the takeover. For me, it's just like somebody just taking a crash course in finance and start talking gibberish at the end of the day. So I do understand, Nigel, at the end of the day. Big up for your super chat. Thank you for your donation. Guys, I'm conscious about time. I know it's late. We are on the midnight vibe. Roydon Frost is saying Man United still have 5 more injuries, and there's the injuries in the key positions against injuries affects tactics. No matter how good you or any coach would battle, will 11 injuries. Somebody that speaks footballing. I can see you, Roydon Frost. But guys, I want to continue as well because we are getting deep down in the stream. We're running over time. And it's time for us to come together to do it. Guys, I want us to talk about how we beat. We see in the lineup what they probably will line up. If you can take down Roydon's Frost chat there, Phil, that would be most grateful so we can free up the screen. Because I've gone ahead in my mind, and I want to have your engagement in the VR room with the panelists as well to say, this is the way I see potential lineup. Can you guys see this, right? And I want us to debate, because at the end of the day, The back line picks itself. If Royce Champions League Varane is back, what the reports are saying, he's been saving himself for the Champions League. Do you agree with this back four, like Reguilon, Martinez, Varane, Diego Dalot?
Yeah.
Can't deny it. Absolutely. Because of
Reports
the
are saying.
no choice.
Reports also came out today that Amrabat is 75% chance to start, and Casemiro is running ragged. So if we play a double pivot there in the midfield, it will be most beneficial to help out Casemiro with an Amrabat Casemiro, and for God's sake, play Bruno as a number 10. What's your thoughts, or should we make changes?
No, the Bruno number 10 is fine, of course, but the Rashford on the right, not for me.
Okay. The reason per se, my logic behind putting Garnacho there on the left wing is because it feels like we're force feeding Rashford, hoping for a moment of brilliance, like we did with Arsenal. You have 10 attempts and one will go in. There's goals in Rashford, right? Ten Hag just needs to be picking players that are on form, right? Stop being stubborn and just put in pacey players. Garnacho will offer you at least bombing forward, going direct, right? Rashford, we've seen him at England, he can do a right job at, playing at the right wing, but Rashford always cuts inside. Do you see any chance for Garnacho to start, or do you see Rashford going over there? And Pellistri on the right wing. Who is in better form, Garnacho or Pellistri?
Well, we only see Garnacho, don't we? So we can't really comment on Pellistri much. For whatever reason, Ten Hag just doesn't.
Based on the cameos, though, Pellistri looked more.
Yeah, it looks great.
Pellistri looks
but based on experience, then, this is Champions League. Garnacho has more belts under his belt. I mean, game experience than Pellistri, and this matters.
Yeah, but if it's not like he's not starting, is he? He's not going to start. I mean, we know he's not going to start, but just give him quite a lot of minutes. I think he wants to play more because I think he's got a lot to prove to himself.
But this is not working. You cannot put Bruno there.
Don't put Bruno on the right again.
Absolutely not. Please don't.
Wasted.
Anything but that. It keeps doing it again. It's like, stop. Please don't do it again.
How about this formation?
Painful to see. It's horrible.
Garnacho, we don't see Garnacho on the right, though, do we at all?
How about these interchanging? How about the interchange?
He won't start it.
How about interchanging? Those two interchanging a lot, switching positions.
On paper, it should be, but that's not going to happen. I think it's going to be Rashford starting. Garnacho is going to be on the bench, and
who are you going to play on the right wing then?
Honestly, my thing is that he's going to go with a diamond again, and then we're going to see Højlund.
No, don't do that 007 diamonds are forever.
I have a slight feeling that we'll see a midfield that includes Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes. The person that might be dropped is Scott McTominay, maybe Scott McTominay, but at the end of the day, Ten Hag is Ten Hag, and he might just feel like we have to control, because the whole thing is nullifying Goretzka and Kimmich. Those guys are experienced.
I'm going to play
You see this comment from RJ, Davis is so fast, man, and that is such an accurate comment. This guy is so.
I didn't see it.
Hey,
Phil, can you bring it up, please? I'm controlling this scoreboard.
Unbelievably quick. He's so fast. It's
Davis, yes, 100%.
I didn't know he was that fast. And when I watched him, when did I watch him last? Can't remember one of the first games. I thought, bloody hell, he's quick, isn't he? I don't know. I never paid that much attention to him. I guess he's quick, man. He's so quick.
He's got 3 assists already this season as well.
Yeah, he has. He's
fast.
He's just goals.
Listen, panelists and VR, I'm going to hit you with the curveball. I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
No!
He's
my God!
Is he fit and ready to play?
Yeah, apparently there's been reports that he's ready to play.
Then that put Mount in the middle, and that puts Bruno back on the right.
No, Mount can play the right wing.
I'd rather see Mount on the right than Bruno on the right.
Okay, Mount or Pellistri? Who do you think he will go for?
Oh no, if Mount was fit to start, I'd take Mount on the right, of course, to start.
Okay.
Just because it's that experience thing, to be honest. That's all it is.
Because in his press conference, he said,
"Do you know what? I've seen Mount play on the right at Chelsea, and he was really good on the right.
Yeah.
He
So
was really good.
I'm just putting the food for thought there because analytically, I've been listening to Ten Hag, what he's been saying regarding the injury updates, and he says that Varane and Mount are looking to come back. Now, it's a gamemanship. Will they be back for Burnley game or will they be back for this game? And this game is huge. This is a Champions League we're talking about.
If
Do you reckon? Listen, Phil, you go. But he can start Mount and then substitute Mount with Pelistri.
I was going to be a real devil's advocate and throw a big curveball in. If Mount isn't fit, could you see Ten Hag starting McTominay on the right? If he's trying to make the
now we're making a twist.
McTominay was going to the right in this match. In the Brighton match. Did you notice that?
As a right winger, he's attacking.
No,
He's
McTominay
attacking.
he kept going to the right. They kept swapping. He kept going to the right.
What's the VR room saying?
Give me a minute. I'll go back to small screen.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at this lineup builder here. So this is my thought process.
Reed saying Hoyle, Garnacho, Pelistri, Amrabat,
Hannibal, Bruno. Hannibal can play there on the right wing.
Hannibal can play there, apparently, yeah. I've not seen him play there, but apparently he can play there.
Hannibal on the right wing. Good shout. I go for that. How about you, Poppy?
It just does. I don't see it in his profile to be able to play on the right. I don't know, man. I just can't see.
Yeah, no,
I've seen him plenty of time on right.
I doubt it. I doubt that will happen.
I can't see that.
This is one of those things where I feel like Ten Hag, might surprise us he has an opportunity to surprise us because it's one of those things. It's an away game where anything can happen. We just have to make sure that we concede first.
All right, so we have one natural winger available who should start, but I was just saying, clip this. This might happen, but if we are going to be real, then we will go something like this. Then Pelistri, right?
Should be Pelistri on the right.
I
have no idea what Ten Hag has against him so far. Pelistri has not get a proper start. We need to give him.
Does he not get back and defend though, Papi?
How do we spell his name? Pelistri. Is it
P-E-L-L-I?
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is he is actually gave an interview about what wingers are required to do in the modern game nowadays, and he said defending is a big part of a wing play. It's more like he actually compared it. He said old school wingers are the ones that would just sort of just hang out and just wait for the ball and take on players. But today's game, so there was a lot of sensibility of tactical IQ in what he was saying, the comments that I was seeing Garnacho put out. So I mean Pelistri, sorry. So I believe he knows what's required of him. It's just a matter of Ten Hag giving him the time. Didn't he just sign a contract just recently?
He did.
Yeah, this is the time, Eric.
Yeah.
If not now, when?
Okay, play Pelistri. Let's go reckless. If not, just roll them out on wheelchairs, Rolling Stones. We don't care as long as you get us some a score, because everyone is expecting us to be battered. So we might as well just go and surprise them, knock him down. If Mason Mount is fit, that's why the reason why I put him on the right wing, because he can track back. He's very tenacious.
I found the quote that I was just paraphrasing, and I like to just say Pelistri on defensive tasks for a winger. He said it's very important these days. Today, wingers not only have to attack, they have to defend. Before, we used to say, I'm a winger, or I only do attack. But today, you have to defend the same way you attack. That's why I had to train in Mexico, because players have to do all these things in modern football. So there is
Edward, stop trolling us. Ten Hag will not play Maguire on the right wing, mate. Jesus Christ. What's next? Slabby Maguire playing like center forward.
Well, that has happened before, Mick. So
All right, guys, we gotta round up. We gotta round up the stream as well with this. The moment everyone has been dreading for, people. We're going in as underdogs. Can we do the night in Paris? Can we do that? Nobody expected us to come to PSG and get a result, and we went victorious. Jarvis Cocker is saying, play wings, not inside forwards. 100% I agree with you. We got to hit them with pace. They will play a very high line, and the way we can beat them is on the counter. Guys, let me know your score prediction. Phil, I start with you.
Oh, no. They've scored a minimum of 2 goals in every game this season, and I don't think that's going to change. I think they're going to score at least 2. If we get away with a draw, it'd be a miracle. But I think we can score. And I agree with absolutely 2-1 is my result. Is my
to Bayern or Manchester?
But it's to Bayern.
All right. Alien Tenno is going 4-0 Bayern.
Going with a realistic one. What my heart says is 2-1 United. What my head says is 2-1 Bayern.
So, Royden, are you meaning 2-1 to Manchester United? That's positive, not 2-1 to Bayern. Big up to you, Royden, for being positive. Listen, I see an upset. For some reason, a wounded animal is the most dangerous animal you can face. Yeah? The Cobra will rise up and spit right in your face. I'm telling you, Hannibal needs to be in the starting lineup. Edward, we see you. I see 1-1 draw. I take that, Edward. I take a draw. Jimmy, speak to us. Speak with your heart.
I'm going to be optimistic and say a 2-2 draw because
yes.
I get your point about the fact that they're scoring at least 2 goals in every match, but they've conceded quite a lot as well. So
conceded 4 in 4.
That's for them. That's a lot. That's
conceded 10 in 3.
Well, I understand that, but that's why for me a draw is optimism.
That's my concern.
I'm gonna be optimistic and go for a draw. I think a 2-2 draw. But also, when I've watched them, it's not like everything's working for them.
It's not.
They've got some weaknesses. You can catch them on the break and in bits like that. I mean, especially this last game, the 2-2 one that they've had, which they probably should have won, to be fair, because they missed a hell of a load of chances. But yeah, I think 2-2 draw. I'm being optimistic, but I think that'll be lucky.
Thank you, Craig Warby, for a super sticker.
I love the optimism.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay, what's next? What are people saying? Poppy, speak with power and energy.
Okay, so
I got the power.
I'll reference what Phil said and say my heart and my mind tell me different things. So
connect the anatomy again, the remember this?
They're not connected in this moment because
follow your heart.
I'll follow the heart. The heart says it'll be a 1-1 draw. But the thing is, Bayern haven't been really clicking, but they have Kane, who is always a threat, even in corner situations, for example. Bayern scored from a corner kick versus Bayern Leverkusen. Munich scored, and we're so horrible at corner kicks. When we do watch alongs, Mick, it's always like my heart palpitates anytime when it's our attacking, when we're doing.
Where's my roses? Where's my roses? I completed a full watch along for the first time in my life, and that was thanks to you. Where's my roses?
I don't have my.
Where's my? Come on, hit that soundboard.
I don't have it today.
Oh no, okay. 2-1 United. Højlund and Rashford will score. Big up, Craig Warby, guys. I hate to break it to you, I got to be reckless here. I see an upset, and it's not going to be a loss. I see a draw, but I agree with Edward Reed. 21.
Okay,
that...
Edward. What are you
21-0, 15 goals for Slabby and 6 for Evans.
That's too much recklessness, Edward. I get your point. I think we are a wounded animal, and everyone expects us to lose. And in moments like this, you know, it's David against Goliath, you know, and I think that David will shock Goliath. I think it'll be 2-1 to United at the end of the day.
Look at
What's Jarvis saying here?
Jamie. Look at Jamie Wayne's comment.
What's Jamie Wynn saying? No offense, if we do win, Tuchel should get sacked the next day. Yeah, we're playing Tuchel, and guys, we know Harry Kane inside out. We faced him so many times before, so I'm not worried.
Not like this. We ain't never faced him like this. I promise you.
Yeah, and
We haven't faced Harry Kane with a limitless supply of balls in the box, my friend. I'm telling you, we have not faced this Harry Kane. This is going to be torturous.
Yes,
we need Amrabat and we need Varane.
Oh, we need both.
Listen, if we just keep our discipline, our shape, like we did the first 70 minutes, don't play the diamond, please.
You can keep your shape all you want. Harry Kane with those 3 suppliers behind him, different proposition.
Okay, so we are scared.
Bad proposition.
We are scared.
Yes, I'm very much scared.
People, let me know. 1-1 draw, what Edward Reed is saying. 4-1 Bayern is RJ saying. 3-0 is LB saying. Jarvis, what's your score prediction? I know you're watching. Edward Reed is saying 1-1 Heart. Bayern Munich struggle with the defense.
Jarvis is on the screen.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you read it?
Yeah, Bayern Munich struggle with their defense. We can definitely hurt them, but we need to show courage and attack with heart. I predict lots of goals, 3-3, and a thriller of a game.
Woo! 3-3. High scoring. Whoa!
We'll double our goal tally in one game.
See this dog spinning 3 times, but for Manchester, 100%. Big up to all of you. And we are actually playing Wednesday night. It's not Tuesday night. Well, Liverpool has to wait for... No, not really. Casemiro loves this Champions League music, 100%. And I'm going to remind you something, just to remind you what we are facing.
Where's the next year? Istanbul or where? Chelsea fan. Yeah. Book the hotel. Put it in the diary. Yeah.
Book the hotel.
Book the hotel. And guys, what I want to say with this last video.
Klopp pulling a hamstring was the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life watching.
That was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was a lovely moment.
Yeah. Tuchel is banned from the bench. Listen, what I want to say with this last video is we should appreciate the floodlights. We've been crying out for it. Why cave now? Like one for all for one. We die by the sword, we live by this sword. You know what I mean? We are Manchester United. We should go in there and give them all that we got. 100%. I don't care if they roll them out at wheelchairs at the end of the game, as long as we get a point and don't get humiliated. We got to believe. We got to believe. Nico AV, dobro večer. Tuchel will be with fans. He is banned with the red card from the last champion. Oh, yes, he's off the bench. He's banned. Thank you for reminding. So he cannot coach.
That doesn't really, with these top teams, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, does it? Let's be fair. They're so drilled with their tactics that it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make that much difference.
Okay. Anyway, why range together? We stick together.
We ride together. We die together. Bad boys for life. Sorry, Man United for life.
Yeah.
Love that film.
We got to finish on a positive note. We are closing the VR shop, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like button. We forgot to mention that Lord Voldemort, all the way from Hogwarts, with his magical wand, say, our day will come again, boys. We all know it. 100%. Close the shop, close the VR room. Big up for all of you for staying with the positive vibes. We're here to talk about potential win. Anyway, I will take a draw any time of the weekend. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Papi, where can people find you if you're not
In Botswana, like
Yeah.
Roydon says, I love Botswana. Shout out to you, Roydon. Big up to you for visiting Botswana. It's a very beautiful country with beautiful people and beautiful food. Anyway, you can find me here on MEFC Realist TV and also
Papi lives here?
Football Power Hour. That's the other.
You're doing watch along on Wednesday, or
No, this Wednesday, unfortunately, I will not be doing a watch along, but
no?
still
We're doing the
subscribe
post-match.
anyway. Exactly. We'll talk about the game for sure.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the game with the whole panel as
Okay, we will do the post-match reaction. Jay show. You're going to be available for that one, or are you going to be working? Papi.
I'll be around for that.
On the post-match, yeah. Okay. Anyone? We're going to have a call in afterwards. That is our new tradition, where global fan base can come in and have this say. We give you 2-3 minutes. Drop the mic and have your say. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been brilliant as usual to have you, Jimmy.
Cheers.
Take care of yourself and your family and stay positive. And
Always,
feel free to call in on Wednesday as well. Have your say after the match as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, cheers.
Phil Standish.
Cheers, guys. Nice one.
Phil Standish, thank you for being in control in the VR room. Big up to VR room. Big up to all the moderators. What is Lucky Singh saying here before we close the shop?
Character and mentality is what we need. Play Mason Mount, Reggie Young, and Hannibal Erickson and Amrabat, and we'll get the points. Big up to you.
Cheers, guys. Phil, close the shop. Good night, everyone, and we shall see you Wednesday. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Guys.
It's been good night, people. That's all, folks. That's what we have to offer. Thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MEFC Realist TV.